Alright, so you guys seem to actually really like the last music video I actually did where I talked about Machine Gun Kelly and his upcoming new album, Mainstream Sellout. Again, it's, I think, one of the fastest to 100 views on this channel that I've done so far, which a lot of you guys may be like, 100 views, that's really fucking nothing. Well, yeah, just put it in my heart even more. But honestly, it does feel good. I'm going to be that small-time YouTuber that's going to celebrate 100 views real quick. And in kind of return, I'm going to give you guys another, video about some music news. This time I actually want to talk about the GOAT of 2019 in Post Malone, who I think was probably the best artist of that year. I mean, he absolutely killed it. Hollywood Bleeding is, I think, one of the best albums that I've heard in the last couple of years. And again, it has been a long time since he has dropped some new music. Again, he has released 2 singles last year rather, which one of them did alright. The one with The Weeknd, one right now, I actually really liked. But the one before that, sorry Posty, like, I love you so much, bro, but I'm pretty sure my ears have stage 8 terminal cancer now. I was not a fan of Motley Crue at all. I did not like that song, but hey, some of you guys might have. I was just not a fan myself. But again, there's been a lot of news actually surfaced recently about his new album, and I'm going to pretty much be telling you guys everything that you need to know so far about Post Malone's new album, his 4th album, which should of course be coming out this year. So to get started, basically, he actually did this interview where he gave off a lot of information about the album. Basically, kind of saying it's super raw and it serves this purpose of an expression of who I am. So again, that's the thing that we know Post Malone's done in the past, is he's definitely made his albums from the heart. And he's kind of one of those guys that will make an album on what he's kind of feeling at that time. So again, I think Hollywood Bleeding was recorded in 2018 and 2019, and he basically, everything that he was feeling in those times, he really wrote about and just did it like that. Again, a lot of rappers don't really do it like that anymore. It's just how it is. And again, Post Malone is one of the guys that will pretty much write about everything that he's feeling in that time and put it on the album. He actually then went on to say, basically, it's short format. Less songs, but songs that speak more to life and speak to how I'm feeling at the moment and the ups and downs, kind of the disarray and kind of the bipolar aspect of being an artist in the mainstream. Now, again, this is really interesting because I believe Post Malone's last couple of albums, they've all been like all over the place with like different sizes, but I believe I think Hollywood's Bleeding had about 16 songs or something like that. Pretty standard, right? I could be wrong, but it's probably going to be like 15, 18. Pretty much that's what his last album had, but again, it does look like this one is going to be a lot shorter. I tend to actually believe this album could only have maybe 9 to 12 songs, and 9 would be the lowest. Again, some artists have, previously made albums before that have only had like 9 songs and have been really short format. Artists like that include Bruno Mars, who has tended to do that his whole career, and it has actually been very successful for him. And because it's a lot shorter of, I think, 9 to 12 songs it will most likely be, I think this actually rules out the possibility of Motley Crue being on the album. It's not confirmed if Motley Crue or One right now will be on the album, but Motley Crue actually came out quite a while ago now, and again, I think the majority don't tend to like that song and don't tend to think it's really that great or on Post Malone's best. I mean, you guys could, if you're a big Post Malone fan who happens to really like the song Motley Crue, I think even you can agree that the song is most likely not going to be on the album. But when it comes to One right now, I do believe that will be one of the singles on the album. In fact, I think it will be the first single. I'm not too sure when the second single will come out, because again, there's been a lot of issues with Post Malone and the record label, which I'll get into a little bit later. Austin Rosen, the co-manager of Post Malone, thinks that it will be a better, as he and Posty's team believe that a lot of times when you put 18 songs on an album, a lot of those songs actually tend to get overlooked. This way, now if they have, a smaller album, a lot of those songs will get more played and less overlooked than an album that would have about 18 on. Again, pretty much what I just said earlier. I think that's another reason why they're going short format. It just makes a whole lot of sense. Post Malone's quote actually says, you're like done with that, and then fuck it, I want to hear that again. that's basically, I think, what he's kind of feeling like is he wants to release an album that will have, you know, like 10 songs on it, and once you get done with it, maybe in like 30 minutes, you're like, holy shit, I want to hear that again. Instead of a lot of rappers now and a lot of singers who will legitimately just release like quantity over quality, and you kind of have to scour through 20 songs on an album and you really only like about 3 or 4 of them. But again, in this case, Post Malone will be releasing his album, and the chances are we might like all 10 of the songs. Or whatever he releases on the album. So I think that makes a whole lot of sense. Another thing that we actually know is Post Malone's album will actually be called 12 Carat Toothache, which again just sounds exactly like a Post Malone album. Like, can we just be honest here? Mate, if you had to like guess whose album name that would be, you wouldn't go out and say like Ariana Grande, you would say Post Malone, I would assume, right? But again, I'm not exactly too sure. It is a little bit different to Hollywood Bleeding, but, Hollywood's Bleeding rather, but it just, again, makes a lot of sense, and I think it's actually a pretty decent name. It's just going to be a little bit of a tongue twister, I think, at times, and if you say it really, really fast, you'll look like you're absolutely mentally retarded. We also know that Lewis Bell is writing and producing on the album. For those who don't know, Lewis Bell is... I don't know if he's the best writer in the world, but I feel like he's one of the guys that's just like on everything. Like, he produces and writes legitimately like every big artist now. Again, I believe he actually started off with Post Malone, but he actually branched off to do Justin Bieber and I think some of Kanye West's songs as well. But again, I think Justin Bieber and Post Malone are like the 2 guys he's really known for. And I think he's done some stuff with Taylor Swift as well, but don't even get me started on Taylor Swift and all of that shit. But anyway, Post Malone actually did state in the kind of interview that he also loves working with Republic Records, and it has been a really, really good thing for him, to do. And he's really excited that he was able to sign with them a couple years ago, and he's looking forward to releasing the album underneath them, which I find to actually be really interesting, because for those of you who haven't seen this at all, Post Malone's manager actually released something on Instagram pretty much calling out Post Malone's record label by saying, "Our sync and energy has always been on the same level. Album has been done. We're ready. But it seems that Republic Records just isn't. Posty fans, no more need to press me anymore. We did our part. Now it's time for the label to get to the business right before our big album. Hit them up. We've been ready like you are. Hashtag Dre Vision. Hashtag 2022. It's our time." Now, I'm actually really, really interested about this because, again, he's basically said this. It seems like there is a lot of issues right now with the album and the record label just not wanting to release it, which doesn't sound like a good thing at all. Now, you could easily go and be like, well, let's take Post Malone's side here. Let's take his manager's side. Why haven't they released an album yet? Like, if they think the album is ready, they should possibly release it, right? But again, you also look at it in hindsight of, is it really, like, how good is the album? Like, if you think about it like this, if the record label doesn't want to release the album, there's clearly something wrong. Most likely they don't think it's good enough, or they don't think it's going to sell well, this and that. And again, there might actually be some evidence to support this, because we know Motley Crue, at the time making this video, I don't even think has 200 million streams yet. It might recently, but last time I checked it out, like 195, and one right now has like 180 million streams. Like, those are 2 failures in Post Malone's books. For any other artist, 200 million is really, really good. But when we look at some of the songs that Post Malone has like released as his first couple singles for his albums, you look at like Sunflower, Wow as well, just those type of songs, they all have like 1 billion streams and did really well when they were released, and all were like top 5 for so long. One right now, I believe, was like top 5 for a couple days, and it just dipped. And again, even though I really like One Right Now, I still know a lot of people don't really like that song. And again, same with Motley Crue. I don't like it. I know some people do, but the majority just don't. Which really scares me, because as a big Post Malone fan, I really don't want this album to be bad. And there's a couple of signs to hint that it might not be the best. Again, those singles are not doing well. They're not being the best singles out there. And of course, we know that the record label is holding it back, which just isn't a good sign. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this, of course, all does unfold. I have a lot of hope, though. I think the album will be really good. If it's anything like One right now, I will enjoy it because I really like that song. If it's anything like Motley Crue, I probably won't enjoy it. But to be honest, I don't think that song is going to be on the album, and I think a lot of you guys can agree with me on that. But of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Again, there might be a little bit more for me to cover and a little bit more you might need to know about the album. But again, this is all the stuff we've really got confirmed. This is really the only times we've heard some confirmation news by Post Malone. And especially it was a recent article too, so we've waited a long time. I'm guessing we'll be seeing more soon. By the time this video comes out, who knows, maybe he's done something else. I don't even know. But of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Tell me, what do you guys think about the album? Are you guys excited? Are you not? Of course, I would definitely really like to know. And again, subscribe to my other channels. Link will be in the description down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.